Hey guys, it's Troy. I hope you are doing well today. I wanted to come on and record the first of 3 videos that I'm going to be making. A little mini run through the system that I use in my dating life and which I teach to all of my clients. Because if you're following my stuff, if you're receiving my emails, or if you're watching my YouTube channel or whatever, it's probably because A, you like my existential rants, thank you very much, but you're probably also looking for some help in terms of improving your dating life, which is absolutely doable for every guy in 2023, there's no doubt about that. Now, I came from a background of being incredibly shy, incredibly introverted, not in the best shape, physically or indeed mentally, really, and my dating success reflected all of those things. It was pretty negligible. It was pretty bad. I went from a background where I wasn't even able to hold eye contact with people, and certainly not a girl or a woman that I found attractive, okay? Let alone start a conversation with her or create attraction or take things further in any meaningful way whatsoever. So I came from a very, very low ebb with this stuff indeed, particularly as a teenager and then going into my early 20s. But how the tables turned, because over the years, and I'll tell my story in more detail, I've told it in videos on my channel, and we can go into it in more detail another time, but over the years, I did a complete 180 really in terms of my social skills, and a lot of it was persistence, a lot of it was just throwing myself into nightclubs and parties and bars and just socializing with people in general. And increasingly then a lot of it was studied as well, was learned. I started to read books, I started to study human psychology, I started to talk to other people, I started to read essays and studies and so on and so forth. And all of that knowledge combined, plus a lot of experience, because I'm in my 40s, so I've been out and about for quite a long time now, meant that I was able to develop a system whereby my dating life and the dating lives of my clients is now far superior to the average guy, okay? So I wanted to just teach you a couple of things on this clip that I think will help you if you're coming to this as a newcomer, and indeed if you are coming to this with some degree of experience, but maybe things aren't quite going in the direction you'd hoped. There was really a lot of key fundamental lessons that I learned early on about dating, but perhaps one of the most important 2 watchwords, if you like, that I can give to you today are mystery, okay, and distance. Mystery and distance. So let's unpack that a little bit. What do I mean by that? Well, one of the key things that I used to do wrongly with dating a lot of the time, and I observe guys doing the whole time, is giving away too much information about myself too early on. Okay, that is becoming too familiar to her too quickly in the interaction, whether that's in the first meeting or on the first date or as you guys are dating. All right, now think about the word familiar for a moment. What does it mean? What is the root of that word? Well, it comes from the same root as family, okay, familiar. You are making yourself too familiar to her, okay? You become like family, all right? There's no mystery. Now, that is a real seduction killer, I can tell you, okay? It's effectively the fastest way to get friend zoned, all right? So what I urge clients to do, and I can teach you in more detail about precisely how to do this and the best strategies to do this, but what I encourage clients to do is to retain an air of mystery in their interactions with women, okay? And as you get to know somebody that you're attracted to, you start to date them, you start to hang out with them more, you need to maintain that level of mystery, certainly in the early stages. Okay, certainly in the early stages of dating, and arguably for a lot longer, but long-term relationships are a different matter. You can't be too easy to figure out, okay? You can't be an open book. You've got to hold something back, at least for a period of time. So retaining that air of mystery is super important, because otherwise you become familiar, like family, and that's not what you want to do. And the second thing is really related to that, but is slightly different, and that is distance, okay? So I suppose another way of saying this could be non-neediness, but I quite like to just use the term distance. You want to retain some distance from her in the early stages as well. And this will, of course, amp up that mystery that I was just talking about. What I mean by that, basically, is you don't want to be all over her too quickly, okay? You don't want to morph immediately into a boyfriend or girlfriend type arrangement as soon as you've met somebody, whether it's on Tinder or, you know, in the bar or wherever you met. You start seeing each other, you've got to retain a bit of distance from her, okay? Again, you can't be too easy to access. You can't be too easy to, you know, as soon as she calls you, as soon as she drops you a message, you're going to drop everything and get in a taxi and be around at her place 3 minutes later. That's no good, okay? There's got to be some distance, all right? And again, it's partly because that helps to build mystery, but it's also because it gives her the gift of missing you, okay? It gives her that gift of missing you. If you are not available the whole time, you're not around the whole time, okay? You're not just at the end of the phone every time she sends a random text or calls. That's going to make her covet your presence more, okay? And again, I mean, in my earlier days when I was dating and learning about these dynamics, I would be far too available to people, okay? Which really translates to neediness, to be honest. I would be far too open, far too available. And that would ultimately kill the attraction, as does not having any mystery, okay? So the two things are very intertwined. They are somewhat different. They are slightly different. Another aspect of distance might be, well, how many times a week are you seeing her? If you guys are hanging out every day, you know, from the off, then that can be great at first. You might go through a honeymoon period where it's great, but the problem is that, again, familiarity can start to set in, okay? So those two things, having a bit of mystery, keeping a little bit of distance in the early stages, super, super powerful. And they will make it less likely that she's going to get bored of you and suddenly ghost or just say, listen, I don't think this is working. All right? You need to have, there needs to be something for her to chase a little bit. There needs to be something for her to aspire to. Okay? And if you just immediately roll over and you become her puppy dog, that's not really going to set you in very good stead, okay? It's a little bit of a game. I think both genders play the dating game, the mating dating game, whatever you want to call it. I'm not saying don't call her for 3 days when you first get a number or anything like that. I think that that's an outdated thing. I think you can message, you know, pretty much immediately and get the ball rolling. But there's nuances to this stuff, okay? And within that, you don't want to be all over her. You don't want to be telling her your entire life story or all of your childhood traumas when you guys first meet. And you don't want to be seeing her every day or seeing her every night. You've got to hold back a little bit. And I think that sometimes guys get this wrong, and it results in the girl getting sort of a bit bored and then a bit put off, and then she's on the lookout for the next bright, shiny thing. So don't make those mistakes. Mystery and distance, super, super important. I'm going to be dropping another video in the next day or so where we're going to be going a little bit deeper into some of this stuff. Hope you enjoyed this one. Leave your comments below or drop me an email with your comments, troy@realtroyfrancis.com. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.